Hi, welcome to the You're Overqualified podcast. And I'm Dani Tan, leadership coach and founder of She Belongs Here. Just to give you a friendly reminder that you do belong here. And being a former VP of a billion-dollar organization, moved to full-time entrepreneurship and leadership coaching for everyone, but especially women and especially women of color who are first and second gen. This is the podcast for you to remind you that you are more than overqualified. And so for today's episode, we're going to talk about funding your business with your 9 to 5. And so I just got off a workshop from just the other day where I was speaking to a group of women who have their day job, their 9 to 5, and they're looking to utilize that strategically to help them fund their side businesses and get them up and running so they can eventually have an exit plan, an exit strategy to move into entrepreneurship full time. So I thought, hey, why not talk about it here on the podcast too? So let's dive in on how to strategically use your 9 to 5 to really launch off your business, right? And I'll give a little bit of background on myself. And so when it came to building my business that I do now, when it comes to leadership coaching, right? The first thing that happened was I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to build some kind of business. So when I was working in corporate, I was a VP of digital e-commerce and merchandising. And so my day-to-day came down to helping identify brands that were underperforming, turn them around, help them perform, whether that was through merchandising, site strategy, tech stack, inventory, assortments, people development, hiring the right people, developing the right people, marketing strategies, you name it. And so by doing that, I really understood how to take a business that maybe is not performing well and make it successful, because I was always measured to year over year growth on many, many levels. And so that was always important. But I always found that my favorite part about what I did was the operations, the systems, developing people, helping them be able to learn new skills, be able to grow a lot when it came to what it is they did. So maybe it was like helping them present and speak in meetings. Maybe it was helping them get visibility with leadership. Maybe it was helping them learn how to analyze metrics in a certain way. Maybe it was helping them figure out how to do something in a more efficient way that was taking them 10 hours to reduce it down to 5 hours. It was just always my favorite part of my job. And so with that, I knew I wanted to do something more. And that's when I figured out, okay, what can I build a business around that will help me continue to expand on the parts that I love about my job? And so that's when I started working with a coach and a mentor on what to develop for my business. And so when I did that, the first 2 years of my business, where I was building out, She Belongs Here, then it was named something different. I had done it for 2 years while holding my corporate job. And so this is a part that I think is really interesting, is that a lot of advice or feedback that we may be given is if you want to go all on your business, just, quit your job and go all in and on your business. But that can feel really scary, like emotionally, physically, mentally, in so many different ways, especially if you're somebody who maybe didn't come from a place of financial security. Maybe it was really scary, the idea to, or it is really scary, the idea to give up your secure day job where you have a paycheck and benefits and, a steady stream of income, to just go all in on your business that feels like it's new. And so I just want to normalize that you do not have to full stop go all into your business without a plan. I think it's really important to create a plan. And so I want to just kind of highlight what those plan points will be. And so a lot of the women that I work with, they work with me because they're coming to get promoted, negotiate their salary, get into a higher level, get into a leadership position, practice their visibility, practice their ability to present and speak in rooms. But the other parts that I don't always talk about all the time is once they've hit a certain threshold in their career, they want to plan for their future. And so when they're planning for their future, they're thinking, I don't know if I want to work for an organization. I've been making them so much money, or I've been getting them so much funding, or I've been getting them, so many things that I want to do it for myself. And they want to essentially future proof for themselves what an option could be. And so when they're building their businesses, the safest way I say, like energetically, to show up to building your business is by having a current paycheck coming in. And so that's why I usually recommend for them like a way to exit, like an exit strategy or a way to fire yourself essentially in the long term. So you set up for yourself goals of when do you want to be in your business full time by? Have some target dates. So I, at the time, had set 2 target dates for myself. So I usually have my clients set some timelines of, okay, what is your first goal for when you want to be all in on your business, and what is like your second goal. So they have two dates typically that we outline of what they want to achieve for when they're going all in their business. Then based off of that, we create a plan of what do you want to have in your business reserves saved so that way you feel secure that if you don't have a single sale for a few months, you're okay. And then what do you want to have in your personal reserves saved so that way if you don't have any new sales come in, what do you have there as well? I do this because it's really important that when we quit our jobs and we go all in our business, we may emotionally not be ready yet. And that insecurity or that financial instability might make us nervous and those fears will start to come up. So I always think it's really important to understand financially, collecting the data of what it is that you need to feel good about making that move. And so we do that part first of what is the timeline for your exit strategy, your exit plan? And then what are the numbers that you feel you need from your business perspective and from your personal perspective in order to hit that? And then what are your saving targets, right? So how are you saving in order to hit those reserves? In order to hit that exit timeline. And so that's what we do together in coaching. So that way you understand your personal expenses, you understand your business expenses, you understand how much you want to have saved. So do you want 3 months, 6 months, 12 months for either one? And then how do you create a savings plan that makes sense for that? And it's super crucial to know your numbers because that's why businesses typically fail, right? They're failing because we have our eyes covered. We don't want to look at the numbers. The numbers seem really scary. They feel really scary, which they do, right? But also it's a part of business. It's just a part of what it is that we have to do and we have to execute, and it's a skill that we have to learn. And so in order to not fail, the best thing to do is to know your numbers. And I was asked that question yesterday. It was like, what's the number one thing that I kind of see that happens that drops off when it comes to, business owners and starting out? And the biggest thing is just not knowing your numbers, period. But that's besides me coaching leaders who are building their own consulting businesses or coaching businesses, it's also when I was in corporate and I was helping brands that were unsuccessful, not profitable, become profitable. It was because they were blind to their numbers. And so that's the biggest thing that I help my clients with when it comes to starting out their own business. So they may be new director, new VP, new senior manager in their current role. And you might be saying to yourself, well, how are they managing that plus building a business? Well, I did both. And so I have all the strategies and tips that I'm giving them on how to do both. And so we do a lot of time audits. We do a lot of time blocking. We also make sure that we have the schedule that makes sense for what is they want to achieve. And then we also have those financial plans for them. And so it's so super important. That's how you create a plan that's successful. I always say, people say, oh, I'm too busy or I don't have enough money. We prioritize the things that are important to us. So if it is something that you truly want to do, you create the priorities to make it happen, which is what we do within coaching. And it's the accountability that you're looking for to make that happen. And so that's why I love the work that I do, because I have women coming in who are like, yeah, I want to do the thing. Let's make it happen. I'm like, okay, well, by making this commitment to work with me, you're going to make it happen because that's why we're here. Hello. And it's so much fun. So that would be one of the biggest things that I would say when it comes to how can you strategically use your 9 to 5 to start your business to kick it off. And so that can be that it is creating reserves for your personal expenses and potentially your business expenses. So you have that there. So when you do decide to launch off, you feel safety and security around. The other things that you can do is really doing that in order to create reserves for your personal, but for your business, every single sale that you have come in, just keeping that and holding it and saving it, right? So for the first 2 years of my business, I didn't use a penny of any of the sales that I made. So for first years of business, everything that I made in my business just stayed in the business account. And then for my personal, I was taking any savings that I had and making reserves for emergency funds for my personal. So when I left the 2-year mark, my business was self-sufficient in its savings, and then my personal was all saved up. So if I did not have a sale for 6 months, I was going to be totally safe. And that's way longer than it needs to be, right? You're going to be totally fine because after you've been accruing this and doing this, you're going to be totally okay. So when people ask me how can I do it strategically? This is some of the things that I would definitely say. A lot of the times too is that we don't necessarily know what to invest in. And so a lot of the time I'm like, oh, I have to invest on the website. I have to invest on creating the LLC. I have to invest in my first hire. Listen, you need to invest in understanding how to make money, period. If you know how to generate revenue, which is acquiring a client, which is going to pay you, and you're able to do that, then that funds everything else. And so the other thing that I would say is your 9 to 5 is going to give you the ability to experiment and explore. Right? So when you're in your business full time, you may be trying to figure out what's the right marketing channel? How do I make sure I'm running a sales call properly? How am I making sure I'm marketing the right person properly? There's so much more weight when you're just in your business and you don't have a backup, which is your day job, where you're like, oh my gosh, this sales call has to go perfectly. I have to land it. Um, I have to make sure like every single marketing piece makes sense. Or I have to make sure every investment that I make makes sense because you don't feel like you have like that fallback or that runway. And so it's amazing when you have your 9 to 5 and you're doing the experimentation phase of your business of trying to figure out what is my marketing channel? Who is my ideal client? Who can I do market research calls with and talk to? What kind of service do I want to offer? How do I want to price it? You get to do that in a place of experimentation and have fun with it versus stressing about, is this the right thing? I have to make every single thing count. There's so much more pressure that shows up and it shows up energetically and people can kind of smell that. And it is what it is, but it's just the truth, right? Because we need it so much harder. And so I would just say like the ways that your 9 to 5 can benefit you is financially, yes, to help fund and create savings to create that safety for you. The other piece is too, is it gives you some breathing room for some experimentation where each investment doesn't feel so heavy or so important that you can really start to figure out what makes sense for you. And the last piece is too, like there is so much mindset work that comes with having a business. There was so much mindset work. I would say that's the biggest overhaul that I had to do when it came to building out my business was doing the mindset work. If you have fear of visibility, if you have fear of being seen, if you have fear of speaking up, if you have fear of talking about your value, if you have fear about sales, if you have fear about, being helpful, all of those things will come up times 10. And so if you have your day job, your 9 to 5 to help fund whatever it is you might need, whether it is therapy, whether it is, a coach, whether it is mentorship to help you with the mindset blocks that are going to come up to give you the foundational mental like health and support to be successful at your business, that can be super important. I would say the majority of the coaching that I got within my first 2 years of business were mindset focus. Yes, I was given strategy. Yes, I was given things to execute and to do. But the biggest thing that was holding me back from actually making it happen was the mindset piece. Because when we have had our 9 to 5 corporate job there to keep us, secure of I'm just going to do the work and I get paid no matter what. And in business, you're like, wait, I have to take certain different actions, certain different strategies, test them out to see what happens. It can be super scary because a lot of the times we are the face of our business. And also we are the key decision maker of our business or the sole decision maker of our business. And so that will bring up a lot of things when it comes to our mind and our mindset. And so I always say, if your business can help, if your day job can help fund you to get the security that you need, whether that's through being resourced through a therapist, a somatic coach, a business coach, a mentor, then have that be there to help give you that foundation because the foundational mindset of all of this is super crucial for you to be able to take action. So the other thing I always like to send as a reminder is if you have set a goal and time is going by and you have not achieved that goal, it is not because you do not have time. Let me say it again. If you have set a goal and a lot of time has gone by, it is not because you do not have the time. There is something there that is blocking you, whether it is mentally, emotionally, whether you're having a fear, whether you're having insecurity, whether you're having a worry. And so what you actually need is some support there to make it happen. Either that's a coach helping you uncover what is going on there, or that is a therapist helping uncover what's going on there. But that's gonna be the crucial thing. Because let me tell you the amount of times where I was like, oh, I'm just too busy. Oh, I just can't do this, da 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 da. And then when we got to the root of the problem, I, found out that I have a fear of this, I have a fear of that. And so it's super, super crucial that you keep the receipts on what it is you're actually taking action on. So I have one client, for example, who she got a promotion within 1 month of us working together, and then she wanted to build her consulting business. I kept telling her, I need you to go out there and start doing some market research and having conversations with people to figure out who your ideal client is and put yourself out there. I need you to join specific kinds of memberships where your ideal client would be so that way you can go ahead and start to connect with them. And she kept being like dragging her feet about it because she didn't feel comfortable initiating those conversations. And so I asked her, you want to make this happen. You have a timeline of when you want to make it happen by. You're not taking action. And what is the reason? Oh, I just don't have time to prioritize it. No. It's like, let's dig deeper. And so we did some exercises on what it was to uncover it. So we sit together, we do some different exercises, what I call like the uncovering the fear, and I call it the evidence ladder. And so when we did that, we found that the true piece was that she knew what goal she wanted to have, but she didn't feel like she had the evidence and the okay and the safety in order to make it happen. So we always ladder that out. So I call it evidence ladder. So then we went and started with what is the smallest step to take forward with that, because we found that there was a fear that she felt like she didn't have enough evidence to combat. And so that's we kind of talk about there. So just understanding that there's ways to make this happen, but it can come up. And so, whether you are a client who has just gotten promoted and you are moving into consulting, or you're a client of mine who you have your day job, but you want to build up that coaching business on the side and you're just trying to figure out where to start, that's the plan and the accountability that we take. A lot of the times we don't have it figured out. Like I have clients who come to me on the call, on our discovery call, where we're scoping out what it would be like to work together. And they're like, I just know that I want more, but I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure how to get there. Okay, come to the call. Don't ever feel like you have to come to the call with everything figured out. That's why you're coming to coaching. And so I feel like a lot of people have a fear of just naming the fact that they want more. And so I would just say to yourself, if you know that you want more, that is enough. And so I would recommend that you come talk to me because I definitely want to help you. And I think there is just so much power. There is power in utilizing your 9 to 5. You have worked so freaking hard, right? You worked so hard to climb the ladder, whether that is to become a people leader, whether that is to still be a really strong individual contributor, whether that is to be amazing at what it is that you do. And so you've worked so hard by developing the skills and the experience and the credibility to do the work that you do right now. And so why would you not now leverage that for yourself, for your future? And yeah, you could say like, oh, well, I have more time. Listen, I just told you that it took me 2 years of doing both at the same time to fully go into what it is that I want to do comfortably. And I didn't even tell you that I had thought about building a business since 2018. And it took me until 2023 to make it happen because I was trying to do this on my own with my mindset work. And I did not succeed. I needed to have help and support, which is why I do the work that I do now, because I think it's so important that we use our day jobs to gain the skills, gain the experience, get that essential, like basically in real time MBA from work, develop the skills and the experience and the connections. And then how do we leverage that now for ourselves? And now we're able to fund ourselves, fund our lifestyle, fund what it is that we want to build for ourselves, be able to do that for our families, for our friends, hire who it is we want to hire, help who it is we want to help. And that is ultimate freedom. Ultimate freedom. And if you decide you don't want to do it anymore, that's okay too. But at least you've experienced and tried it. And so I highly recommend that you go to my website at danitan.com, DANITAN.com, and book a discovery call with me. On that call, we'll talk about what it is you've been itching to do. What is it you've been thinking about that maybe you have not taken action on? And I will talk about, here, what it would look like to potentially work together and then what our time would be like and what you can accomplish. Like, why would you not want to start the business? Start the business. You've been thinking about it. Like, no more. I always say to people that if you've been thinking about it and you've been sitting on it for a while, it will always come back. So why not just explore it? So I recommend you book a call with me and we meet. And hopefully you found this episode helpful when it comes to different strategies of how you can utilize your 9 to 5 to really help launch your business and create it from a place of safety and security, not feeling you have to like dive all in and go all in. And I will catch you next week and have a good one.